Good afternoon, YouTube. Good afternoon, subscribers. This is Community First. I want to touch bases and touch bases on religion and politics. And I want to be clear about this because I did one video about religion, and I wasn't quite really clear about it. I want to be clear about what I've learned in my assessment on religion and how it's affecting us as community and in terms of politics and how people are mixing it together. And I want to touch bases on religion. We all know that we have a freedom of speech in the First Amendment and a freedom of religion. Everybody does, and we should. We should have a freedom of religion. That's why Jesus Christ, basically, I'm a believer first and foremost. And Jesus Christ came to do away with the old law, and that was to go unto the high priest. And we can go to him and everything. That I believe in the supreme being. I come from the church. I believe in the Trinity. That's my faith. That's where I was before I knew myself. And all through my childhood and everything. And the church. Okay, so we all understand that some people have different religions. There's 1,000 different religions. First and foremost, the example of even the story of Jesus in terms of biblical terms stated that when he came, he basically did away with a lot of religious groups. I mean, he had an entourage, he had a group, just like a family or everything, or just like a business. They all have groups. That was his disciples. But he taught and preached and did away with that. Everybody and the high priests and all of that. Those were the people who assassinated Jesus. They killed Jesus. So all these religions coming forth, and I want to talk about it. I want to be careful because I know religion is a very powerful subject and it's a sensitive subject. So it's politics. But let's talk about that. Okay, religion, as though everybody have their own religion and their own voice of freedom of religion. They respect the supreme being and they go to him with their own way of honor. But there's only one God. I believe in that. But they go to him with their own honor. However, I see people pushing their religion and exerting it into the dialogue of business and politics. Your sacred place of religion is that's sacred for you and your family, how your faith is, what your faith is. And a lot of us can't really help the religion we were taught from children that our family brought us to, whether we be Hebrew Israelites, Jehovah Witnesses, church people, and so forth. Okay, so our Nation of Islam. Okay, so let me say this: even the church has different ideology. Depends on which church you're part of. That's the church. We got the Catholic Church, the Apostolic, the Church of God in Christ. So I grew up as a Baptist. So I went to the Church of God in Christ, and I also enjoyed the Apostolic because I wanted more freedom of expression. The church that I came from was a conservative Baptist. So I wanted more freedom of expression. And my granddaddy went to a Methodist church. So there's different churches. However, I got people that are from the Hebrew Israelites, which I respect the Hebrew Israelites. You guys are onto something. I respect your religion. However, I saw a video from the Hebrew Israelites telling ADOS, American descendants of slaves, that they're basically not effective because of what he believed in religion. Now, there are some things that the Hebrew Israelites are up onto, and that's slavery and in captivity. The Bible speaks, the content of the Bible speaks about the 40 years of oppression that we as Black people had to endure, which that's over now. I think it was over a month ago or some weeks ago, and that even entails them more. This is definitely a prophecy. But however, they're mixing that with the agenda of business and government. Being a protected class and somebody owing you money has nothing to do with your religion. That's a sacred place for you to honor the supreme being. And a lot of people get emotional talking about their religion, and they're disingenuous. But I don't think they know it. It's subconscious because they are mixing their emotions. You get emotional when you talk about religion, how you worship the creator, how you worship your supreme being. That start riling up emotions. And that has nothing to do with justice claims in terms of American descendant of slavery. That has nothing to do with somebody owing you a check on Friday. I mean, definitely Christian value is involved. But when you start talking about basically ADOS is not effective and they're trying to say bad things about it, some Black Americans, because they are Hebrew Israelites. Now, not all of them, because some Hebrew Israelites watch me and they respond to my channels and they say, well, I'm a Hebrew Israelite and I believe that we should have reparations. And I'm a Hebrew Israelite and I believe that Donald Trump should get rid of illegal immigration. So not all of them, but people are mixing their religion and politics. I mean, I understand that the Black church has been a place to learn in the past, where we had to go and be schooled and everything when we were going through the hardship of child slavery, and Jim Crow was a meeting ground for Black people. So the church was not all that bad. However, we using a religion to point out facts about government policy and what we are owed due to justice claims and monies and economic wealth. That's a transparent, obvious situation. And if somebody want to give to your religion as a cause or donate, that's different. But for you to impose religion upon the rights of the courts is a bit extreme. That's kind of an extremist. And some of y'all, what worries me, well, what alarms me is when some people are doing it, they have a following base. And they have, just like the Hebrew Israelite guy was talking about ADOS. He was saying basically that he doesn't stand with ADOS and so forth. And some people were saying that under his commentary that are Hebrew Israelites, because we come from this person and that person. They believed in the three brothers, Shem, Ham, Shach. I mean, the three brothers of biblical terms that were we all come from as nations, and that that has something to do with the shape that we're in. However, that has nothing to do with what I'm owed. The Bible also states that a man should be paid for his wages. We were the blood sacrifice of this labor that has begotten us empire. So we are in business now, but we don't show up on the charts. If I'm in business with you, it's three of us in business together. It's four of us in business together, but three other people have got their royalties in terms of this business, and I'm the only one that has not received my check or my royalties. Then that's a business matter. That's a problem. So this is what politics is. And first and foremost, the United States government is a business. This is really not a country. It's a corporation. The America is the country. The United States is a business. However, we built it. It's so powerful. It's a business. Slavery, chattel slavery was a business to make one wealthy. That's why we are owed a justice claim. That's our inheritance. Not the fact that it's just a business in our inheritance. We also have people that on both sides, we were descendants of slaves and descendants of slave owners. Some of us are descendants of slave and descendants of slave owners. And I haven't heard a lot of people speak on that. So here we are, and due to our justice claims and our inheritance, that has nothing to do with how you choose to reverence God, how you choose to respect the Almighty in terms of religion. And people are going with that, and they're so deep into their religion, they'll come on here and they'll be doing stuff in the religion form. And I don't want to put nobody's religion down, because every religion has a defect, because it's not pure and holy. It's not clear. Everything on this earth has a defect, including religion. And you know what religion do? It divides the community. I've seen religion tear families apart, which is way too much. My mother told me, when you're above family, you're too high. And I came up with the analogy, if you fall when you're too high up, it can be very damaging, because you're too high. And then you fall, it can be damaging. You may break something that don't heal for a long time, because when you're above family, you're too high. And that's what religion has done in a lot of cases, put you above community and family because of your ideology of the religion. It's not the supreme being. He's perfect. Everything's made in perfect perfection. We can't even question that. And the more we study it, we realize that it is already perfect. It's we who come in this place and in diaspora and change things and disobey Caesar's laws or whatever. It says something about obeying Caesar's laws as well. So in terms of the United States government, they have not obeyed their own laws. That was American citizens of slaves' constitutional rights as a protected class. So we have not obeyed that. Our ancestors and the people that are in authority in the dominant society has not rendered the laws. They have not submitted themselves to the rule of law in terms of ADOS. So that has nothing to do with the Hebrew Israelites. That's your own religion. The Jehovah's Witnesses got their own religion. Every religion think they got it right, seem to think they got it right, and the other religion is wrong. That only brings in room to divide the community, predominantly Black folks. Have you noticed other people, one religion they used to be in? Most whites and stuff are they're Catholics, or they just, in the church or whatever. I mean, even Hispanics and stuff, they don't have all different types of religions. In my assessment, I don't see other groups doing that. I'm not talking about anybody's religion or putting it down, but they're not separated. See, the reason why we've been separated and dismantled is because we were harmed. So we're looking for our identity through religion. So we're saying this person got it right, this person got it wrong. That's dividing us. That has nothing to do with our business exchange in terms of government. You see, this is what I'm saying. And so you got other groups in the religion and all that, and then even the Nation of Islam, that's a good group. That's a good religion because they respect and honor their leaders, the males, and they have a Christian value that keeps them out of trouble. They hand out papers. Okay, this is great. This is a good institution. It helps. However, you don't impose your religion on collectively what has happened to you before you knew that religion. We were all one people. Black people in this country were slaves. We went through chattel slavery, the native Blacks of the United States of America. We have justice claims in terms of business and politics and political exchange. And through the courts that we've already on file and in our constitutional right has granted us, we just have not yet obtained our property. That has nothing to do with your theory in religion. And people are going crazy in religion. And I know religion can be radical. Trust me, I know. I went to the Apostolic Church, the Church of God in Christ, Exodus. I'm a member. I mean, I don't go, but I've been the last member of church was the Church of God in Christ. So we understand that religion has its place, but I also understand that people that are in religion who are very wise and responsible understand that you don't mix that together. Now, we have a problem in the church where the church is greedy. So they invite politicians in the church. They get cutbacks. They get tax breaks because the church start taking people money. And we come into that. So nobody has it totally down packed. But we do understand the supreme being. I see him as a provider, the supreme being, God the Almighty. I believe in Jesus. I know I have to. See, that's my business. That's my faith. It works for me. He respects the fact that that's how I see him because it's well within my heart. It's in the exterior of my spirit. So he understands that. The Bible says, for the Lord God judged the heart of man, weigheth the heart of man. So what's in our heart makes a difference. However, we have to know where the line is drawn. And this is what I don't understand. I don't see people, I don't like seeing out going and inserting religion and where it doesn't really fit. Because that's, to me, ignorant. I'm not trying to call it that doesn't make any sense. Now, you are so rightfully religious and everything is so perfect in that religion until you have inserted it in a place where it doesn't fit. And that's extreme. Now you're an extremist. And you're disingenuous. And you probably got people following you who could learn something different and really be educated about what's on the table, what's at stake. We respect your religion. You are welcome. All religions, as long as you is an American descendant of slavery. You're welcome. All your religion. When you go to a job, you don't go to IT declaring your religion because IT was not built from your religion. It was built from the the success of the economic wealth of something or some things. It was built for that cause. Your religious group have built a sanctuary where you go and worship, whether it be the mosque, the church, the kingdom hall, or whatever. That's where religion is. And when you out preaching, teaching religion, let that be just that. When you out giving out papers, or Jehovah's Witness giving out pamphlets, or the church going out and preaching, teaching, that's different. Trying to recruit people to become a part of your religion for their own safety and, and all of that. And that's great. Okay, go ahead and do that, people. When people get into religion, a lot of times they are having something to do that's positive. They have a strong Christian value and of respect. But at the same time, Black folks, what I don't see what we doing is dividing each other by putting one religion down. A lot of things, most religions came out of the Bible. They'll tell you to open your Bible and let me teach you my religion. So they're using the scripture and the Bible and the content of the Bible to bring forth an ideology of a religion. Most religions came from the Bible. Now, some religions don't even believe in God. So there's thousands of religions, but that has nothing to do with justice claims. The fact that you may owe me something. That's nothing to do with that. The fact that you owe me money or property or law, or put me on in favor of law in terms of a protected class. That's going to help you, whether you're a Hebrew Israelite, whether you're a Jehovah's Witness, whether you are a Muslim, a Nation of Islam. And I want to touch bases on that. The Muslim, I'm not a Muslim, but they're Christians, and they're not like the Muslims Muslims in the Middle East. The Nation of Islam has their own ideology of religion in terms of being a Muslim. They're not the ones who assassinate people with bombs and stuff. A lot of white people don't know that. So they say stuff like the Muslims, and stuff like that. Well, they don't have nothing to do with the ones that are over there in the Middle East, the Nation of Islam, here in these United States. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan. They don't have nothing to do with that type of Muslim activity. But all religions have been disingenuous. And even Dr. King and Malcolm X had different ideology in terms of religion and doctrines. However, they became allies because they had the same cause in terms of business and politics. So that proves itself how religion doesn't take place in everything. Now, God may take place in everything, but religion is a different thing. Basically, in terms of what we learned about Jesus, he was against religion. That's who killed Jesus, the religious leaders. So we think all of that in a bag of chips because we got a religion and we're faithful to it and we're there all the time and we have a certain smile and a certain tone in terms of our religion. We think that we're above something. That's not true. You're setting yourself up for failure, or you just coming into a place where you basically are Scrooge and you're in your own world. You're not really able to exchange in common sense because you allow the religion to put you in a very extreme manner. No one's putting your religion down. You have a right to be a Nation of Islam. You have a right to be in the church. You have a right to practice freedom of religion. In the First Amendment, you have a right to be a Hebrew Israelite. As a matter of fact, I like some of what the Hebrew Israelite teach and teach. I respect it. However, I don't respect the division in the community. You going out interjecting your religion that someone else is vague or wrong or don't exist really because they don't have your dynamic and dialogue of religion. They don't have your ideology of religion. They're not practicing it. So they're wrong. Every religion that's separated gives the room to say the other religion is wrong. So that's divisive in the community. I mean, it's soft-spoken. We understand this there. For the most part, we've been dealing with it real good. However, some people are radical and very extreme on here talking about religion and what something else doesn't is not effective and doesn't have a cause because it's not lined up with their religion. It's clear as day. The United States government is clear as day. There's some things we have not been educated on. We've been mishandled as far as education. There was one time in chattel slavery, it was against the law for us to learn. So that's why a lot of us came from the roots of being in that space. We were dealt with throughout pregnancy. We still had some of that in us because the mother, we drank the breast milk of fear. See, we don't even know that much. You got to think about this in terms of physical, spiritually, and then it comes down to business. And then we had to deal with the character of people who had to live under those demands in captivity. So they have a different ideology in teaching. Now it's coming to another place. And then they pushed and they fought and they got a lot going. And they're the reason why we can use our voice here today, which is unimaginable that we couldn't at one point. That it was illegal for us to even speak out of our terms, for us to be free, for us to learn. It was illegal. This is a humanitarian crime against a person's human rights, and we have not yet obtained any valuables in terms of that, any recession in terms of that. There has been no real compensation besides go be free, like a herd of cows, and just go wander. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. But we got all this wealth of what you did and the blood sacrifice of how we killed you and demanded you to do something. We got all the railroads built. We got all the streets and cities built. We made the money off the cotton and tobacco. You were the blood sacrifice. You're the battery of everybody's success. But go pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. Yeah, I know the Constitution states you're supposed to have 40 acres in the mule, but we're not going to give it to you. That's what happened to us. That has nothing to do with whether you're a Hebrew Israelite or a Jehovah's Witness. Nobody said you can't beat that, but this has nothing to do with that. Come on. The reason I'm saying it over and over again is because some of y'all may be watching this that are people that have that to do because they see religion up there. Well, watch it closely. Then we were affected systematically. I mean, institutionalized racism. We get to go then pull yourself up by your bootstrap. I don't care. You did all this good work and your family died. We breeded you like cows so you can have more children in the workforce. And we still not have been compensated. Oh, but we gave the Jews what they deserved. We gave them good favor because they stood up. But when y'all tried to stand up, we dealt with y'all with militant force and we assassinated your leaders. The integrity of your cause was pushed out the way. This room, this light is the integrity of this room. Everything's centered around these lights. If I turn these lights off and close the door, I lose that. So that's what our leaders were. That's what Black Wall Street was and other communities. They were the light of our success and it was destroyed. Come on, that just happened. I know y'all can hear me say that before, but that did happen. So people saying their religion makes a difference when it comes down to a debt claim or justice claims. You got to really think about what you're saying. That's dividing us. Religion has divided us, and religion has divided family. So be in your religion, but know the limit. This is for you guys, especially ADOS people, regardless of what religion you are. This is your justice claim. This is you in community. This is you on the economic baseboard. When Dr. Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore bring this before us, this is your existence as a people. They have already described you. You may be describing yourself in terms of religion, but the United States government already has you in a description. You're a Black American if you're not an immigrant, because immigrants don't exist like we do. They say they do, and they try to say they do, but they don't because they uphold their immigrant status. And they come from different places, so they don't have the same struggle. So they are reigning in success over our heads because they are immigration. They're not as threatening as we are because they don't have a justice claim here. So they're not as threatening to the United States government as us. And we're looking for the United States government to rectify this situation and not confuse it anymore with immigration. and then bringing chaos inside the community when they come over here and they're disrespecting us and not realizing we are the reason why they're here from those laws in 1965. And I had said on one of my commentaries that Bill Clinton was president in the 80s, but it was the 90s. And Ronald Reagan was president in the 80s. I just talk fast sometimes, so y'all forgive me. I'll correct that. I'll remember that. All my subscribers and people who appreciate my content. All my subscribers and people who appreciate my content, thank you. However, this is what happened to us. And in terms of us being a people and community, so if they keep throwing out, we keep being divided. Say, for instance, if I'm arguing with 5 people in this room, we all family, and we having a debate or argument, disrupting, and it's chaotic, and we talking about what we're going to eat, but we only have so much food, so much money to go eat, or we got to pay the car note and this and that. We having an argument. Nobody likes each other that day, and everybody looking at each other's side, each other's head, and everything. And somebody come in the house and write a $500,000 check and tell us, y'all stop arguing. I got y'all a $5,000 check. We gonna stop arguing. We may start laughing. I have been in situations where that has happened, where things came to play when I wasn't feeling good with the person I was with, and all of a sudden we just felt good because we got blessed or what per se, or we came into something tangible. Well, this is what that looks like. That's why Black people are in disarray. That's what you do when you're in progress. You argue, you fight, you have sex, or whatever. These are the characteristics of people that are in dire situations and that are disenfranchised. So we will take on a new concept of our behavior and say, oh, well, we don't have to argue. What are we going to eat? And then we'll be laughing and say, oh, as a matter of fact, I think I want to go pick up some new tires before we get our steak. So give me a chance. Because now we have tangibles. We have what it takes to really be a family now. We have what it takes to really be an American. This is what this is like. And we're talking about religion. We don't realize how much of a bottom feeder that we have been feeding from. We think we don't realize that. This is what this is like. And now we're in a certain religion because we have been put in shapes and forms where we are not united due to something that we lost. It's good to see you. Due to something that we lost. That's what this is about. And it's transparent. And actually, it's surprising to a lot of us that we have come in 2019. Out of all these years, we now realize, and we have been realizing, a lot of us, but we now realizing that Black folks have been a sleeping giant. There's transparency. So we don't need to be in division, but I understand why. There's a reason for that. And that's what we have not come to. And now people understand more and more. So we out here speaking our minds and bringing religion on the table in terms of justice claims, in terms of somebody owing you, in terms of your cause, who you are as a family. When you are above family, you too high. Regardless if it's your religion. I'll shade my religion down just to get along with my cousins if they're Jehovah's Witnesses. Because they're family. They need some water. They've been traveling. They need a place to stay. See, that's what this is. We are one people. American descendants from slaves, we have already been put in one place. We are one people. So we have to realize that. In terms of your religion, you have the First Amendment. You can practice freedom of religion. You can go to where that holds that. But to be an extremist and come here and try to devour something that you haven't did an assessment on in terms of government and business to help you is deplorable. That hasn't been thought out. And you're using religion and radical. And, we shape ourselves like that as a protection mechanism because of what has happened. Everything we put our hand to basically is no good because we never had the means of support. So like I said, we need to understand that when we approach these conversations, it's not to put you down, it's to get you on board. Understand who you are and what you did. Remember, when you go to Rome, you have to be with the Romans. When you go to a certain party, a certain parade or gathering, you have to be there for that cause. And stop mixing everything together. That's chaotic and can be constituted as ignorant and uncivilized. Remember, we are one people. And we have our fellow constituents who are here that also enslaved us as their ancestors. So this is what this is about. This is bigger than those little talking points that a lot of people are using. And I understand that. And I'm here to help and to bring content and to talk about this. Because I see my people and I see what's going on. We don't even realize that it's even an inheritance. Some of us, we have both in our system. We also African descent and Irish descent, African descent with it throughout the mixing of slaves and slave owners. Also, we are America's children. So we have something. We just have to understand where it's at and who we are in the process. There has been a big conspiracy concerning us. And we intend to bring that to the forefront through our presence, our intellectual presence, respect and integrity. So I keep up with the value of content in my community to share. Knowledge is entertaining also. Let knowledge entertain you. See, other groups are entertained by knowledge because they know what it does. It empowers them. However, it was illegal for us to learn, so we were entertained by basically entertainment, shucking, jiving, singing, dancing, whatever, stuff like that. And then when we got paid to do it, unfortunately, it made a lot of us degenerates. We didn't realize what a real wealth was. So what about those who are disenfranchised or having a hard time competing with the society due to justice claims and due to economic wealth gaps? This is real. You can't have lights without paying for it. You can't have something you can't live without water. So everything has its place. And the justice claim, economic wealth gap, you don't know what it takes to really be an American. We can have jobs, but what about us reflecting in community? Being statistics. What do we look like on the charts? Every other group is educated because they're entertained by knowledge. We're entertained by celebrity gossip, new shoes and stuff like that. A lot of our people, and we're patronizing everybody's businesses and everything. We don't realize how powerful we are. We can actually pull our dollar back and make something happen in 2 weeks if we wanted to. But this is what this is for. So we will have an identity that they respect. These other people have that. We don't know what that looks like. We got dismantled in terms of law even. Not just physically and spiritually or socially, but also in terms of government policy, in terms of economic value. We're not asking nobody for nothing. What we have is ours already. It's being withheld. See, that's what this is. And we determined to correct that and make rectifications. We're determined. And the overclass that are educators are on board who don't even have to really worry about it, but they may have $100,000 a year, but they also face it in terms of community. Maybe they're supposed to be making $200,000 a year because of their expertise, and they don't. Because collectively, we have been redlined, and other groups that came and took the value of success off of our blood sacrifice. And we see it. This is what we're talking about. So look at the bigger picture before you start bringing religion and all that to the board. Look at the bigger picture. You could be at your own demise, really. Because I respect everybody's religion, even though I disagree with it. A lot of the ideology of it, even my own, has defects when I was raised under my religion. So why are we going to put religion in and keep making division in the community? That doesn't really make any sense. That shows how undeveloped we are and what's really happened to us. That's another claim for abuse. Actually, you've been abused. You haven't been given what's rightfully yours. If you throw something down to 8 hungry people or 8 hungry things, all of them going to try to get it. That's what happened. That was the war on drugs. When they threw that down, all black men started selling drugs and stuff. But the big wigs didn't get caught. And then they start using it and stuff. I mean, when you got a people you can expose to exploitation due to abuse, that's what happens. Just like people getting young people that minds are not developed and turning them into prostitutes or whatever, that's what that's like. We became an opportunist due to neglect of what belongs to us. And then when we did come to a place where we were able to regime in our success, it was dealt with, like I said all the time, in militant force. It was dealt with rage. Black Wall Street wasn't no hood. That was a successful, prestigious community. Rosewood. A lot of groups don't even know us in the sense of prestige. They don't even know us. They have bought into the perpetuation of what they say we are through the fourth branch of government. And when we start talking about it, they feel some type of way because they're not used to us having a place of power, a place of prestige. But every other group does. And then we get on here and talk about religion. Do you realize what you're doing and what you're saying and what you interjecting? And then we put in question what we owe and rather how we going to spend it. A lot of people, because that's fear. You don't even know what that is. And we are here to educate you. You don't even know what community really is. It's put in question with you because you never got a chance to dwell there. Other people calling your community the hood and the ghetto. And you don't even have no land. But it's written in the books that you were supposed to have 40 acres and a mule or the value of it. This is what this is. And y'all talking about religion and saying all kinds of craziness without really understanding that your cause is beautiful because you never knew it. A lot of people say, I'm not going to play the lottery because I ain't going to win that stuff. This is not the lottery. It may have the value of what the lottery could give, but this is reality. This is you're owed a debt. Justice claims. This is not the lottery. We're not playing the lottery. Why you think doctors or lawyers are on board? Yes, we could, but we already been mismantled. The subscriber said, why can't we create our own religion like the Japanese did? We could, but first we have to come together. We've already started creating different religions. Even during Martin Luther King regime, when Malcolm X and him became allies, they were both in different religious groups. In doctrine of religion. And so that's why, they had different ideologies, but they understood what the cause was. And they said, oh, this is not about religion. This is about my people. We don't see how the world look at us. We don't understand what has happened necessarily, even today. So ADOS has gave us a purpose. And it does not have the same message and ideology as Black Lives Matter. It's more open-minded and it uses more integrity. It doesn't center on one message. And that's what they don't understand. And reparations is a beginning to be put on the charts in terms of your own wealth and your own well-being. And your own well-being. That's what this is. And community value. So let's stop busting each other up in groups as much as possible, because it's not going to help. But we're going to get what we deserve. Oh, trust me. That's going to happen. So be encouraged. But at the same time, we need to be careful interjecting our religions. Yes, Black Lives Matter is ran by Nigerians, and they have the best interest in mind. Exactly. They're ran by Nigerians. And the thing about it is everything that we have in this country as a protected class has been diluted with immigration. That's not fair. It's not even right. It's actually against the law. But we have allowed it. We've allowed it to the point where it's almost become a law for them to reign off our civil rights, our coattail, or whatever we did. That's what we're screaming about. That's why we don't want black and brown alliances. That's why we don't want them mixing the word using terms like minority, so that they can start shoveling in what belongs to us to other groups. They've been doing that. They've been doing that. So this is what we're talking about. And a lot of people saying, well, we hate Africans or we hate. No, it's not that. We've come to learn that we keep patronizing other people's success with our laws and our dollars, even in our tax dollars, then we don't exist. We literally don't exist. Which, as much as we've been harmed, we were harmed through chattel slavery and institutionalized racism. And we support other groups when they come inside of our system and then start reigning in Renaissance and responding to us with condescending tones in the community in terms of business as we patronize their businesses, their restaurants, their gas stations, their grocery stores, and then they be enclaves outside of us. And that hood and everything black folks living in, that property is not even yours. Immigration owns some of those houses. As a matter of fact, what you paying rent for and your Section 8 paying for, and whites. Because you don't have what you got to take to make it. You don't have no 40 acres and no mule. You can't compete with that type of wealth, even though they're using, up until they rectify our cause, they are all using our blood sacrifice and our money. They are using our wealth to deliver. They're using our wealth to create renaissance for themselves because they can. They've been allowed to. And this is what ADOS is introducing to us. We have a right. We have a right to stand. We have a right to have what's ours. You have a right to have what's yours. Why not? I have a right to go in my closet and put on my clothes. They're mine. That's what that's like. That's just that transparent. You just never had it before. So now it scares you. And it's a question in your mind. And you're putting all this stuff that you're practicing involved in, like religion, and your own personal aspect and being devil's advocate. And a lot of black people think that makes them look good when they always ready to be devil's advocate. Okay, it may be good for discussion. It may be good to have a debate, but be careful on which battles you choose. Because this is real serious. This is something bigger than anything since the civil rights movement. And a lot of folks haven't even come in contact with this. But they will. So this is real good. And folks that I talk to are like, whoa, send me the link. Whoa, they're like, whoa, we don't know what's going on. It's snowballing. It wouldn't be if it wasn't important. What folks don't understand, black people have been abused in terms of law and business, community. I mean, even in which we can take a long time to speak and we can go on and it'll ever be forever listenable to. You can listen to it. Because it's good rhetoric, literally. That's why. And we're tired of being in feudalism. Giving all to the king, working and competing against something that's 12, 13 times bigger than you without the tangibles to fight the war with, without the stuff you need to compete with. You don't go to war. You can't go to no gunfight with no knife. You can't go to no gunfight with no knife. Period. Or a fingernail clipper. Basically. And then we get to ourselves and we create our own existences, which a lot of religions are good because it keeps people out of trouble. It keeps people paying attention to their Christian value. But this ain't what this is, baby. You don't need to be divisive among your own people. This is important. You are important. You are an important factor in this. And we understand through the wide picture of communications, of being intellectuals, not just educators. We understand the dynamics of what has happened under these inhumane exchanges as far as physical, spiritually, and financial. We understand. So the agenda is already on the table. See, that's what they don't really understand, and people making noise. They're making noise. And some people are actually making beautiful content. And that's what we need as a community. It's time for Black folks to know they have a place. Because a lot of Black folks gave up. They gave up. And don't even realize they gave up. They say, well, this is the existence of who we are. We're going to have to continue to fight. Let's settle for that. But you see, now it's people that understand that you're settling for something that's before you in reaching distance. Only thing you have to do is put your cause here and let us rectify. And that's the United States of America. It is important that we understand the United Front without violence. That's important. Real important. So now we here. And I'm just doing a talk and expounding on some of the commentary that I see that can further divide people, but it's not going to win over. But I just talk about it as we along our way. I don't think a lot of us even know who we are. We have bought into the perpetuation of who they say we are. That's first and foremost an identity crisis right there. Throughout chattel slavery and institutionalized racism, that's just the title of it. But identity crisis as divisiveness with militant force. Okay, that stop. Now let's rectify our cause in terms of wealth, because that's what really harmed us. Like I said, somebody come in this room and 2 or 3 people are arguing about what they're going to eat or how they're going to pay something, and you write them $100,000 check, they're going to stop arguing. Or $200,000 check, because now what they were arguing about, they can fix. So that depletes stress and arguments and divisive and dividing divisive exchange. So that's what's on the table. So ADOS, people are important. Be encouraged. Important. Follow Dr. Yvette Cornell. Look at Antonio Moore. Pay attention. Religious groups, pull back on your religion and realize that's your sacred place to reverence God and not interjecting in business claims and politics necessarily. Appreciate who we are. You're welcome here. ADOS people, American descendant from slavery. You're welcome. Understand that. We don't need to shame each other, but we do need to rectify. And we do need to have an understanding of what we're aiming for as a people, as a community. And you can practice your religion. You have that right. But we need to know who we are and what has happened to us. And a lot of us are already on board and know. And I appreciate those who are. I appreciate us. Because then we come in all different ages, creeds. We come in all different. And I told my son and everybody else, I had to get him on board to understand who he is in this country as an individual. And he understood that. So a lot of people trying to get us about President Trump. He a racist. That ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about. With somebody prejudice. What he did, even if it was subconsciously, it aligned itself with us when he started talking about other people taking value, because it started coming into their bedrock. These other groups putting themselves out of poverty start coming to their bedrock and trying to change the country socialist. So immigration really don't realize what they're up against, because they're working on some over there, trying to end some stuff that they have, that we, the one, fought for. So there's a lot going on. Really, it is in the diaspora. So here we are. And then we going out the way to help other people because that's all we knew. And a lot of Black people coming in government trying to fight for other people's cause just for a seat in government. And that's why we're not putting them in the office with a boule, going against everything they know. They don't really know nothing. They're taking instructions. They don't really have the best interest of their own expertise. They're not really even effective in journalism. So some people are going to be removed because they're not going to be effective no more, because you are in the way of America progressing and apologizing for her sins and rectifications. So after a while, they're not going to need you because your cooning doesn't work anymore. We needed you to coon, but now it doesn't work. So you got to move. Move. That's how they do you. There's science that talks about that also. When I study, I study. So we need to understand that and stop telling each other this is not right because I am a Hebrew Israelite. And that has nothing to do with a justice claim. You sound ignorant. Some of y'all got your head tied up saying stuff because you want to have an identity so bad and want to be important so bad. When you're above family, you're too high up. And if you're above our cause as family, you are too high and the fall can be damaging, literally. And I hate for it to be fatal. Because when you're above family, you are too high. You don't realize it. You have your right to do that. Remember, we stand together. That's why I call myself community first. When my kids were young, we picked up paper in the community and we were opposed to other people throwing it down and stuff because we love our area. I try hard raising my sons. And I'm a black man, predominantly a young black man. It wasn't easy, but it's all right because choices are to be made. You can make choices. And one of the choices I encourage you to make is come together and stop inserting things that divide you as community because nobody else cares about us. Only people care about you is when you care about yourself. You got to show people how to treat you in business, in government, and in social exchange in terms of community. You have to do that. That's the science of a group or as an individual. And then you think you're important because you're in a certain religion? Or you may be important, but that's not even what the program is about. So be careful when you make those insertions. Because we love all of each other. We love you. I love you guys. I love you, and I love you very much. And I understand our cause is great. And I encourage you to follow our people. Follow the content. Follow Yvette Carnell, Dr. Yvette Carnell, and Antonio Moore. He doesn't speak a lot, but when he does, he does. So that way we can understand it's okay to have a cause. It's okay to be in existence. And not just be wandering around trying to be with everybody and everything and don't realize that you already been stamped as a group, no matter what you think you say you are. You can't get out your existence. So this was about politics and religion. And I appreciate you watching, but when you're above family, you're too high. Thank you for joining me. This is Hard.